Emma, thank you so much for being here. Mary Gets Hers was a New York Times Critics' Pick and was produced by the Playwrights Realm at NCC's in 2023. What was the journey of bringing that play from concept to production? Were there any surprises along the way?
What an incredible question. Let me center myself. You know, theater is so ephemeral, so something that happened 2 years ago can feel like it happened a lifetime ago. But I wrote that play originally in the fall of 2018 when I was in graduate school at Brown. And it's a play that's an adaptation of a 10th century sort of closet comic drama by one of the first recorded female writers in Western history named Roswitha. A friend of mine had given me the original play called The Rise and Repentance of Abraham. I read the play and it just leapt out from the page to me. It felt like a Marx Brothers movie. We put the play up in a workshop production, me and Josiah Davis, who ended up taking the play all the way from that very infant state to its production with the Realm in 2023. And then I applied to a writing fellowship where you spend 9 months working on a play, developing it with the folks at the Realm, with collaborators. You do a couple of different workshops. And then after that reading, the Realm decided to do a production of the play through their Page One Fellowship.
You co-created Two Sisters Find a Box of Lesbian Erotica in the Woods with Bailey Williams. That just premiered in a workshop production and is returning this spring, right?
It is. I'm in the midst of rehearsals right now. That's gonna be opening in, 3 weeks at Here Art Center. You can plug it. I'll give you guys a code.
How did that project come about and what was the collaboration like?
Two Sisters Find a Lesbian Box. Two Sisters Find a Box of Lesbian Erotica in the Woods is a play that play or piece of performance, we call it an intimate theatrical experience, is a piece that I co-wrote with the playwright Bailey Williams, who also is my partner in real life. But it really started off as a project that Bailey and I could use as a sort of site of exploring themes and questions that we were already exploring in our individual work as playwrights. And then we came together as collaborators to think about what kind of work we wanted to see, what kind of ways we wanted to push ourselves as artists. We're in the piece as well, which is, arguably deranged, but something that I think breathes more life into the piece.
Do you see your fiction and playwriting as overlapping, or do they require different creative muscles?
I just came from a swim in the pool, which is really where I do my best writerly thinking. I love speaking about it in muscular terms. I think that the skeleton of my writerly life is sturdy and sort of similar throughout the whole of all of my interests, whether that is making comics and zines or writing short stories or writing plays, but the musculature of how I approach each of those genres differs absolutely. And it often has to do with the audience, with how is somebody approaching this? What is the physical musculature of what I am able to do, and how can I invite those limitations in how that guides me toward the thing that I'm working on? I love short stories. It's my favorite genre. I think that it has a lot to teach us actually about that time-bound medium of playwriting and performance, because oftentimes I'm reading a short story beginning to end in one sitting. And I think that the scope of a short story is actually quite related to the scope of a play. I think the temporal experience of different kinds of art really dictate how I'm approaching something, more so than the theme or the question. When you start with the theme or the question, you're kind of like, okay, do I want to move into making a comic with this? Can this sustain a novel? Is this actually just a short story that I need to kind of get out of my head and then maybe adapt into a play later on? I try to be kind of loose about it. Me and my playwright friends like to joke that we're just writing the same play over and over and over again. And I think that's true for a lot of artists, whether we like it or not, whether we're lying about it or not.
What do you enjoy most about working with emerging playwrights?
I would say that my favorite activity is to work with people who are discovering playwriting. So when I'm teaching an introductory playwriting class to college students, there's a very high likelihood that they haven't experienced playwriting pedagogy before. The surprise and delight of watching people discover what is possible, it's just like a light joy. It gives me an enormous amount of pleasure. I am really fascinated in thinking about how young writers are making sense of this really difficult moment in the world. And I'm looking to them as much as I'm looking to my mentors and to older writers to tell me, how are we living today? How are we navigating the different ways of being seen and known in this really hyper-mediated world? And how can we return to a place of immediate presence that theater offers to really ask those questions with criticality and with community? It's a complete joy. I love it.